Good evening, Golden. I am Mayor Laura Weinberg, and joining me here tonight is our City Manager, Jason Slowinski. With all of the news stories and rapidly evolving situations over the past couple of weeks, we wanted to speak directly to you to share information and answer your questions. The coronavirus pandemic is affecting all of us. There are children home from school, employees who have already lost jobs, and vulnerable individuals having to isolate themselves. The public health guidance to reduce the spread of the disease has led to many decisions that affect our everyday lives. I know that the changes are challenging, impactful, and will have long-term effects beyond these initial closure timeframes. The pain that you are experiencing and the frustrations that you are feeling are real and shared by many. In the midst of this, I am also seeing and hearing tremendous acts of kindness and community. We can and we will help each other get through this. I would like to thank all of you who have remained calm and are following the advice of our public health officials. Taking this emergency seriously and doing your part to reduce the spread is helping. I would also like to thank our city staff. They are responding in creative ways to this rapidly evolving situation and working hard to keep us informed and to ensure that the business of the city, from water treatment to public safety, can continue to serve our community well. The city is taking this outbreak seriously and is working with state and local health agencies and in coordination with the county and surrounding cities on appropriate and necessary measures. These measures will help to keep the disease from spreading rapidly and help protect our most vulnerable populations from exposure. In a few minutes, the city manager will be able to address a number of the specific steps that the city has taken so far. Many of us are also concerned about the lasting economic impacts to our small businesses and individuals in our community. The uncertainties about how long things will last and what might come next are frustrating and I know are causing anxiety. Please remember that you are not alone and that Golden, the state of Colorado, and the nation are working on ways to help. I and city staff are in contact with our state decision makers as well as our federal representatives on the packages and programs that are currently being worked on to help during this time. We will make sure to provide the information and resources as soon as they are approved and available. In addition, we are working hard on programs that we can implement here in Golden to provide help to those in need and to support our small businesses. I am grateful that we have a community where individuals are willing to donate their time and money to help others, where we already have a strong network of nonprofits who are set up to help and looking at ways to expand that reach in these difficult times. We hope to have available soon a place where you can go to contribute to helping those in need in Golden during this crisis. The city is also implementing new communication channels, such as trying a live stream, as we are now, to reach as many Goldenites as possible. Please feel free to reach out. Let me know if you have other ideas for communications and if you like or don't like this live stream format. I'd really like to hear from you. Also, I ask that you check in with your neighbors. Ask if they are accessing the city websites like guidinggolden.com for information or any of the city's social media channels. If they are not online, ask if they are checking Golden's TV channels for new information on a regular basis. I know that our residents who typically rely on phone and mail for information are not getting timely enough news. Please help by calling those neighbors who are not online. We know that social distancing will help slow the spread of the disease, but it also means isolation for individuals. Please take a moment to check in with those neighbors who aren't leaving their homes. A kind word and a quick "how are you doing" can really brighten someone's day. And lastly, before I turn this over, you all are what make me so thankful to live in Golden. Our community spirit is strong, and we are all looking out for one another. You are showing appreciation for our first responders, healthcare workers, and our grocery store employees. You are stepping up to support our local businesses, and you are looking out for the most vulnerable in our community. Thank you for doing your part, and remember that we are Golden and we will get through this together. So thank you. I'm going to turn it over to our city manager, Jason Slowinski, to talk through some of the details and the steps that we have already taken as a city.
Thank you very much, Mayor. As the mayor said, without question, this is an uncertain and trying time for all of us. But despite the uncertainty of this past week and the weeks that will lie ahead for us, the Golden community should know that our city government and our city government employees are dedicated, and we have been working very hard on planning and strategizing responses. And we are very prepared to keep the essential services that you all depend upon on running smoothly. That is our mission, and we are prepared to meet it. Obviously, we're dealing with the greatest immediate public health emergency that we've seen in over a century. All levels of government are trying to coordinate resources and responses. It has been a rapidly changing situation. For the better part of the last 2 weeks, we've been in touch with public health officials, officials at Jefferson County, officials in other cities. I've been in contact with other area city managers. The mayor has been speaking with her colleagues in other cities. And I've met daily with our city management team. And the mayor and I have met daily talking about this situation. Today, the mayor and I participated in a conference call with staff from Senators Gardner and Bennett offices. You should know that we're all working on this together. And with our public official colleagues around the area and the country, we're committed to taking the best course of action we can with the available information to us. And sometimes it's been a moving target. Information and recommendations are changing rapidly and daily. But one thing I can say with certainty in these uncertain times, and that is the relationships that we have all built between county government, Jefferson County cities, have served us well as a strong foundation for collaboration during these extraordinary times. So as we're all trying to figure out these things together, we are truly doing it together. As I said at the outset, the city is prepared to keep delivering essential city services. To that end, I want to share with you some of the operational changes that are impacting how we deliver those services. First, as of this morning, the city's administrative offices, including City Hall, are now closed to the public. Please know that we are still inside, working hard to make sure we're providing city services. Our employees are standing by to assist our residents with normal business activities. We're asking you to contact us through phone calls and email rather than in-person visits. This decision was made in order to minimize the health risk to our employees. Again, anyone needing to contact the city for normal city business, please call our main number, 303-394-8000, or contact us via email. And you can find email addresses on our website, or there's a link to our main city email. Specific numbers and email addresses for departments and various contacts can also be found on our website. Let me address emergency services at the outset. Emergency services are operating normally with some modified protocols. If you have immediate emergency, please call 911. For non-emergency situations, our 24-hour non-emergency dispatch is 303-980-7300. Golden Police have also established an online reporting mechanism. You can find it at cityofgolden.net and under the Police Department tab. If you need to file a police report, this is a great way to do it. and at the same time minimize personal contact. But again, online reporting is for non-emergency reporting needs. If you have a police or fire emergency, you may see some different protocols in how our crews are responding and interacting with you. Depending on the nature of the call, responding crews may not all rush in at one time. Arriving crews will be in personal protective equipment, and they will likely send one single person to the door before others engage. Again, we're trying to eliminate exposure to our police officers and our firefighters. As a point of information, our dispatch center is relaying info to responding crews if there is a suspected case of COVID-19. That way, our responding crews can be prepared when they arrive. Our municipal court has been postponed. All cases that are pending before the Golden Municipal Court will be rescheduled. Court staff will be in contact with those that have a pending matter. But if you need to reach the municipal court for whatever reason, the number is 303-384-8035. Our Golden, as you all probably know already, our Golden Community Center and Golden History Center are closed to the public. We took that action late last week. Our employees in those areas will be working to actively clean and thoroughly clean our facilities for a potential reopening at some point. We don't know exactly when that will be, and we'll make that decision in conjunction with recommendations of public health officials. But you can expect closures to be lengthy. And right now, the closure is until further notice, and we'll be regularly monitoring the advice and guidance of those public health officials. We had a question actually that came up earlier, and I'll address it in these remarks. Our public water supply is safe. We've been in contact with our professional association and water experts. At this point, there are no recommendations to change what we are doing with respect to water treatment. We have plans in place to operate our water treatment facility remotely if we need to, and that would be necessary. In fact, our water treatment operation is now actually helping the rest of the city with utilizing some of the cleaning chemicals we have available to help clean our facilities. The various operating departments are adjusting staffing rotations, and many of our personnel will be rotating into remote working environments. We may be adjusting shifts and schedules and hours. We're using teleconferencing for internal meetings where we can, and all in-person meetings between city staff are kept to small numbers of employees and only when necessary. And we're keeping all social distancing recommendations and practices in our daily work. All things that we're doing to help manage the contact between employees and ensure that we're being safe. We've established a special COVID-19 webpage, and it can be found at guidinggolden.com. This is a location for information and resources and updates as we have them. We have created a list of community closures as well as a place for nonprofits to post specific needs they might have. So if you are looking to help, donate, do something, please check out that part of our webpage, and hopefully we can connect you with specific needs in the community. Also, I would recommend reaching out to community not-for-profits. I'm sure there are several ways they can recommend you are able to help them. Our street crews are prepared to do what they do best. I know we're getting into warmer days now, but we still are prepared to handle a snow event at some point if we need to. We're moving to one operator per vehicle policy in our Public Works Department. And again, that's helping to keep distance between our employees and making sure that they're not all together at once. Other things that we've been doing, we've suspended street closure permits except in cases of emergency. We will be conducting building inspections for outdoor inspections only, things like decks, roofs, windows. For new building permit applications, we will be taking them in online. The city has suspended, as of last week, has suspended water shutoffs. I've seen information from Xcel Energy as well, that they're not doing any shutoffs related to electric or natural gas. So if you find yourself in a position that you are unable to pay, please don't fear that your service is going to be shut off during this time of uncertainty. We're holding on all of our non-essential expenditures, and we will be looking to delay hiring of non-essential vacancies that we have open right now. We know there will be a budget impact to this, as there is an economic impact to this. And so we've already moved to conservative budget practices, and we'll be invoking necessary spending only. We've put in place flexible leave policies for our city employees. Our goal is to make sure that our employees are safe and healthy and can tend to both their personal and professional obligations. And we don't want them to have to make a choice between that. So we're working to provide the maximum flexibility we can. Lastly, this afternoon, the city has declared a local emergency pursuant to Colorado state statutes. The biggest effect of that is opening avenues of state and federal funding to the city should they become available. It is in effect for 7 days pursuant to state law, unless extended by city council. And we will be asking city council to extend that emergency declaration indefinitely until council determines that the emergency has ended. That way, again, we're going to be open to additional funding opportunities from other levels of government should they become available. Those are the some of the prepared remarks I have had for some of the operational changes we've been making. We are prepared to take some questions from the community. We set up an opportunity both through Facebook Live and through an established email address, which is covid19@cityofgolden.net. A couple of points to note before we answer questions that the community might have. First, obviously, we're using some new technologies to take questions live from the community, so please bear with us as if there are a few hiccups along the way as we're doing this. We will post this information on our website. It'll rebroadcast on Channel 8 as well. We have just a few city staffers in the room with us tonight who will help coordinate questions. And as you submit questions, we may not have an answer to every question that you have as we're sitting here tonight. And if that's the case, we will circle back with you individually if it is an individual question or an individual situation, or if it is a question that has general applicability to the entire community. We'll make sure we post the answer to that question on our Guiding Golden COVID-19 webpage. So again, please submit your questions, covid19@cityofgolden.net, or through our Facebook handle, which is City of Golden, Colorado. We've already gotten a few questions, so Mayor, I think we're at the point of the program where we'll take a few questions. And the first one that I have on the list here from Ben via Facebook is regarding the what is the city doing to ensure we have no utility cutoff during this crisis? As I mentioned, we took that action last week, and it will not be shutting off any water service from the city. And Xcel Energy has also indicated that they do the same for their customers.
Do you want me? I can take the next
Go
one.
ahead.
Sure. This next one comes in from a business owner in Golden. My husband and I own a retail business in the historic district. Is it the recommendation of the city that businesses temporarily close? The city is not making any recommendations on business decisions. I know some businesses, particularly our restaurants, are having to make those tough decisions on whether to close completely or just reduce down to the takeout and delivery options. That was order put in place by the governor yesterday. Those restaurants are making their own individual decisions as to how they can best move forward. I think any of our businesses, particularly the ones downtown that rely on the tourism that we know is not here and will not be here during this time with all of the cancellations of events and tourist generating programs. It's going to be tough, and I think there's great recognition in the community that our businesses will be impacted. My hope is that many of our Golden residents and people in Greater Golden who love our downtown businesses will make that decision to support you, to support our local businesses through their purchases of items as they need them, gifts for others, or even gift cards. Louder. And even gift cards for use later. So Golden community, please recognize that our businesses that we love are going to be hurting, and businesses hang in there. We're hoping that, and we know that there will be specific relief programs at the federal level to help you economically, but it's going to be, I think, a case-by-case and an individual business owner decision on staying open or closed.
We had a question via email from Julie regarding concern about water supply, trash recycling, pickup, and other utility interruption. We're confident that there will be no utility interruption in any of those areas. We've been in contact with Xcel. Obviously, the city's the supplier for public water. And again, we've looked at our water treatment plant. We have remote access capabilities and other backup plans in place in case it would get to that point, but we don't anticipate that at all. So we're confident of that. Could the city organize outdoor yoga or outdoor exercise for groups that keep social distancing? Was another question from Julie. At this point, our focus has been on the immediate coordination of our city operations. But I think there will be a time to have conversations about, the longer this goes on, if we can do things to that nature. We'll certainly look at it. By the way, I'm also going to keep a list of things that come up here tonight and address these with our management team as we meet regularly. Julie asked, will the grocery stores continue to operate even at limited hours? That is my understanding. Again, as the mayor said, we don't have specific recommendations for businesses. Julie asked a question about coronavirus testing in Jefferson County. The coronavirus testing we heard on the call today is through the state. They have the capacity to test 250 per day. And I know they are meeting that capacity regularly. But if you suspect that you need testing, you should contact your health provider or local hospital. They'll direct you to the place you need to go. And in terms of numbers that we're seeing of cases in Jefferson County, they're reported specifically about Jefferson County and not beyond that in terms of actual location in cities. So I think I addressed the questions from Julie.
I think we had a couple of questions about our Fossil Trace golf course. So maybe just address those two together about
Sure.
the status of the golf course.
We had a discussion this morning with our management team, and at this point, we've kept the golf course open. And part of our rationale behind that has been we want to extend as much opportunity for people to, even in this time of uncertainty, to exercise, be outdoors, and still have some social interaction with others. Although keeping in mind that we should comply with all the recommendations from public health officials. Golf is one of those activities that is played outdoors in groups of 4 or less, and generally with folks in your inner social circles. We've talked with our golf course manager, and we are going to be meeting on this every day. If at some point we need to make a decision about closing Fossil Trace, we may do that. It hasn't been a recommendation from public health officials as of yet. The restaurant component to Fossil Trace is complying with the state order for carryout only. So, and if it gets beyond that, likely they would close and comply with whatever public health recommendations there are.
We have several questions from Facebook. The first is, does the city have any responsibility to monitor public compliance with CDC guidelines? That's from Betsy.
So Betsy, that is an open question. We've had our city attorney looking at that. There have been orders from the governor's office, for example, for restaurants to only do business through drive-up or carry-out. And that question has come up in that context. And so we are working with the city attorney's office, with the state officials, and trying to determine the enforcement action that would be taken in those instances. So I don't have a specific answer to your question tonight, other than our city attorney and our police department are looking at that very question as of today.
And as we heard on a statewide call this morning, since the directive just came out at the end of day yesterday, the state is still working on providing those guidelines on enforcement, and they haven't sent those out or come to decision yet, at least as of earlier today.
And I would expect at some point we might be asked, the Golden Police Department or local governments in general might be asked to help enforce those orders, and we of course will do our part in any way that we can.
We have a question that came in via email from Barb. Of the cases that have been reported in Jefferson County, do you know if any of them have been in Golden?
Do we take that one?
Sure.
Yeah, we don't have that specific information. Our office is tracking both Colorado cases and those in Jefferson County specifically. The public health agencies are only reporting cases by county and not specifically tied to cities or local government entities. So we don't have specific information as it relates to the city of Golden.
George on Facebook is asking, now that restaurants are closed, will there be a deferment of city sales taxes due Friday?
That's a good question. We have not, I have not talked about it with the city manager or with city council. I think that is certainly something that we need to have a discussion about. All of our businesses have seen their business dramatically drop off in the last, week, and going forward into this week, and that's not just our restaurants. So I think we would need to make that decision and understand who this is for. And certainly some businesses, I've been hearing that our liquor stores are doing really well, our grocery stores. So this wouldn't necessarily be across the city, but it should be something that we discuss and we consider and we understand who this could affect.
We also heard on our call today that are a number of pieces of legislation currently in the works to help small businesses in a number of different ways. And I just don't have great detail to any of that right now because I know a lot of it is still being developed. And I think we're hoping that through the Small Business Administration there may be some announcement soon on what small businesses can expect and how they can be assisted in a variety of ways, but certainly including their margins and their financial picture going forward and how they can keep operating. But we'll post, I'll visit that question with our finance director as well about the city's local sales tax. And we'll post information as we get it from other levels of government of how small businesses are being assisted.
And we have another question from Facebook, from Tom. Are boards and commission meetings generally canceled? And will the board and commission vacancies be filled since we are currently in the middle of that process?
Yeah, so we have canceled all boards and commissions meetings as of right now. I think we will have to revisit for how long that is and if we are going to move to any kind of virtual meetings or when we might have a public hearing requirement for a case for Planning Commission. Thankfully, we don't have any right now on the schedule. Boards and commissions interviews were set for April, the beginning of April. I'll be talking with the rest of council about that time frame at our Thursday night council meeting to decide how far back we would like to push that. We don't have vacancies until May. We have the whole month of April to interview. So we have some time to decide on a date, whether they're going to be in-person interviews or telephone conference calls or some other way to interview. So council will be discussing that, and we have some options, both in terms of the date as well as the method.
Casey is asking us on Facebook, will the Ward 4 election go on as planned? And if so, will Ward 4 residents be able to vote in person or only by mail?
My understanding was this was always only a mail-in only ballot, so there was never going to be in-person voting. I don't believe that there's been any disruption in the ability of the county clerk and recorder's office to mail those out or to process them, so it will continue as planned unless we get an update from the county clerk.
Yeah, and our city clerk, Monica Mendoza, has been in touch with the Jefferson County Clerk's Office and about our special election specifically. And yeah, the mayor's correct. As of this point, there's no interruption that we expect in that special election, but we're going to keep touch with the clerk's office just to make sure as we get closer that there aren't any hiccups on that end that we need to be aware of.
And a question from Kent on Facebook. What is our best source for finding opportunities to help volunteer in our community during this time?
It's a great question, and we know that there's currently our existing nonprofits who are looking at the situation, working on what's the extent of the additional need going to be going forward and how they can best plug in additional volunteers. We're also working on a program and sort of fast and furiously the last couple of days to link our Golden community together in a way to provide support both for our Golden restaurants as well as people in need in Golden with a meal. That will rely on both donations from our community and our nonprofits as well as volunteer time from our community. And we've been working on it for the last few days. Hope to have the information on how you can contribute, how you can sign up to volunteer, hopefully by the end of day Thursday or Friday, and have that available publicly. So know that we are working on it. We are working to define some of the ways that we can best help each other within the Golden community with all of the need that we are already starting to see.
And one action to that point, one action we did take. If you go to the city's website, I mentioned this earlier, but I'll mention it again, guidinggolden.com, where we have the coronavirus information, and scroll to the bottom of the page. There is a section on local nonprofit needs, and we posted that there so that if there are local nonprofits that have specific needs for donations, for help, resources in any way, they can post those needs there. And if you are a community member in Golden that wants to help, and I know there are a lot of you out there who love to help out in the community, that's a place you can go to look as well to see what needs might be there and figure out how you can help. So we're trying to have a place where where these ideas can be, these needs can be shared and also explored for those who want to help out.
We have another Facebook question. Is the city cleaning any of the playground equipment in city parks?
We are not cleaning the playground equipment in city parks at this point, and simply it's a matter of resource allocation. We don't have the ability to get around to all city parks, and as they are still open to folks to use, it would be difficult for us to continue on a regimen of cleaning where we could do it often enough to make a difference. But at this point, our parks are open, and we're encouraging that folks do engage in outdoor recreation activities, because I think it's important during a time like this. But that is something that we have not done simply from a resource allocation standpoint.
Those are all the questions we have at this time.
We had a couple from earlier as well. I don't know if you
Yeah,
wanted to.
I think there's a few more on our
Yeah.
list that we had. We did have a question, an email question from Rochelle, and this was a specific question about an apartment building that she lives in. So Rochelle, if you're watching or listening, we'll follow up with you directly, individually, and if you can just make sure that we will have your email address. So we'll follow up back with you individually and get you information on your specific question.
We also had an email from Kathy. Is anyone looking after the needs of the homeless folks in Golden? With the rec center and other public places closed, there are a few public restroom facilities. Is it possible for Golden to maintain our public restrooms during the closures? Also, would it be possible to rent a few porta potties or portable hand washing stations? Thank you for thinking of our homeless. They are certainly one of our most vulnerable populations in Golden and really in the county and the whole region. Golden does have 2 public restrooms that continue to be open and will stay open as far as we know. They do have running water and the opportunity to wash hands. And so those restrooms continue to be open. I don't know that we've considered additional portable facilities anywhere, since the 2 restrooms are located in our core downtown area where we would have the majority of people. And we do have a new program in the county that Golden is participating in, and that's our Homeless Navigator program. And certainly as a city, we need to be in conversation with our Homeless Navigator at the county level as to what they are doing and how we can support that effort to help the homeless during this time.
We do have a few more questions that have come up on Facebook.
Thanks.
A follow-up to the parks question. What park and city recreation facilities are likely to remain open?
Our parks and open space in general would likely remain open. The one that we currently discuss on a regular basis is Fossil Trace Golf Course. But the general trails, open space, and parks of the city will likely remain open unless we have some directive from public health agencies that determine those need to be closed. I'm not anticipating that, but again, we'll keep monitoring for those recommendations. But at this point in time, we would encourage residents to actually get out and get outside and get exercise, and those things are open for use.
And at this time, I don't believe the public water fountains are turned on yet. So, depending on how long this lasts, that may be something that the date for that turn on may be affected, but usually this early in the year, they still haven't been turned on. And so that would be the one area that maybe we would need to take a look at. And I have no idea what a normal time frame is for it, but certainly is something that could be for consideration to push.
A question from Bill on Facebook. How are you promoting the census during this time to ensure the best count for Golden?
Bill, that's a really great question. We've been talking about the census for quite a number of months, and certainly nobody expected we would be in this position and in this place when the census became available for people to take. It is, I know that mailers began to be received, I believe, on the 12th. They will continue to be received at addresses, I believe, through the 20th. And then as soon as people can receive that mailer, they can go online to fill out the census. Necessarily, most of our communication last week, this week, has been devoted to the rapidly changing situation and decisions being made during this public health crisis. And so we need to bring the community up to speed. We need to keep the community safe. We need to be following the best practices and public health guidelines and really work through the current situation before we can start bringing our attention back to other areas. The census capturing online, I believe, goes through April 1st. No, it starts April 1st and goes through the end of April. So there is time for people to get that, for us to turn our attention to encouraging them to fill it out, and for moving our communications hopefully beyond all these fast-paced decisions to some more steady state communication of what's happening.
I will also just add that we, city staff is in constant communication with the census folks, and they have told us at this time they are not going to be doing any in-person gatherings. They're not going to be promoting it in person. But one of the best things about the census this time around is that you can do everything online. There are phone numbers to call. You can do it through the phone. And all of that information is at guidinggolden.com. We have a census page where you can find all the information on how to participate in the census. But that's a great question and a great way that they have advanced the census process, is that now it is available online.
Yeah, and the last point I'd like to make regarding the census is I know the U.S. Census Bureau will be working with colleges and universities to get an accurate count of students who may not be there because they've gone home due to university and campus closures. And so we'll be following those recommendations and making sure that, of course, with Colorado School of Mines here in town, that we get accurate counts there as well.
I think there was one last one, and I don't know
Yep.
if you'd like me to take it or if you would. There was a question via email from Bill. With the C-19 related slowdown and reduction of city tax revenues, should we rethink Heart of Golden proposals? The property was purchased with the expectation of status quo city revenue stream. If we knew then what we suspect now, I suppose we would have deferred the purchase. But with the city's new economic challenges, should we be spending our limited resources demolishing the old office building now or defer the demo? Bill, I think the Heart of Golden process will continue with perhaps some modifications on input and public process and the idea generating part of the Heart of Golden. The financing part, the funding, the multi-phased, how would anything be paid for, is still in the future and certainly would have to reflect whatever current economic realities we're in at the time and that we project going forward. The building itself has been purchased. We have reviewed it. We have decided that it is not in a state that can be reused successfully because of the aging systems in place. And so City Council has already made that decision. We are already looking and moving forward with a company who is going to, and I'm losing the word, but who's going to look to sell the furniture and fixtures in the building, as most of those, again, are not ones that would be used. So I think that process can all continue. The actual taking down of the building, I don't know that we have a date for that yet. And I imagine when it comes time to discussing the actual taking down of the building and the time frame for that, we on city council would have discussion.
Yeah, that's true, Mayor. I don't have a date for that either, for the actual demolition. As to the Heart of Golden process itself, I just want to make the point that we will be meeting to talk about that, and you'll likely be able to, you will likely see some postponement of some of the meetings. I think the next one is scheduled for April 8, right? April 8. It'll be highly unlikely that will happen on April 8th. So we'll look to reconfigure the process a bit going forward and postpone some of those meetings. And we'll, as we have more information on that, be able to announce it via our normal channels. Any other questions that are coming in? Again, and maybe we'll give 2 more minutes here in case someone's out there has a question. This information will be rebroadcast on our Channel 8 as well as on the city's website. So if you're watching now and have a neighbor or friend who isn't or who can't, let them know. It'll be rebroadcast so they can pick it up later. And guidinggolden.com is the resource for where we're going to continue to post updates related to COVID-19. And we'll share those through that channel. So that's your go-to place for resources. We've got a couple of follow-ups we're going to do here with individuals, and we'll post that information as well on our guidinggolden.com.
And if you end up thinking of a question later, there is a Q&A on that Guiding Golden webpage, so you can ask your question there and get a response. You can also reach out individually if you have a more specific question or you would like to talk through a specific situation. Happy to not have that publicly posted all over, but just reach out directly to me or to the city manager personally.
Any last questions coming in?
All right. All right, well, thank you everyone for tuning in and trying this live stream with us. Please let me know what you think, if we should do it again, if you found it useful. But we really appreciate you watching, you paying attention, and really all that you're doing to help keep Golden a great community as we all work together to get through this current time. Thank you.
Thank you.